eerie, otherworldly, and really very beautiful. The extraordinary works on paper, so carefully amassed by Klaus Hegewisch, provide a captivating insight into this German collector's life and legacy. I've come to Christie's to learn more about his subtle and intriguing world-class collection. Tim, it's great to be so up close with one of the works in the Hegewisch collection. And I think I'm right in saying this is the earliest piece.
Yes, it's from 1498, and the collection really spans from around 1500 to 1960. So it's a vast period of art history covered in this collection.
There's a detail that immediately leaps out to me. You have this very shaggy-haired, fanged, winged demon. And I just wonder whether that sense of the supernatural, something mysterious, is actually quite typical of what Klaus Hegewisch loved to collect.
He loved the uncanny, so we see this man nicely warm by his stove, he's fallen asleep, and the demon blows lustful thoughts. And I think that the figure of the nude woman, which is identified as Venus by the apple on the stove, is his vision, the beautiful woman that he is dreaming of. It is rather playful and joyful, but what makes this work emblematic for the whole Hegewisch collection is that combination of the theme of enchantment, but also a vague sense of something eerie and disquieting.
Primarily, he collected works on paper, many prints, many drawings.
I think he liked the black and white, he liked the contrast. I think it is one of the greatest collections of prints and drawings in the world, certainly in Europe. In terms of range and depth, it is, to my knowledge, unique. And it's also unique because of that very personal flavor and taste that manifested itself in his choices.
Veronica, it is quite special coming into this room. Clearly there are a lot of standout works in the collection, but this feels like it's a particularly pivotal piece. So what are we looking at?
This is Picasso's 1907 Tête, leading up to the Demoiselle d'Avignon.
So, the famous painting that completely changed the course of modernism, the beginning of the 20th century, now in the collection of the Museum of Modern Art in New York. This is a preparatory work for it?
Exactly. There are about 16 sketchbooks that lead up to the creation of the Demoiselle d'Avignon. This sheet actually comes from carnet number 10, the 10th sketchbook, which is the only sketchbook to have left the artist's possession during his lifetime. Exceptionally rare.
So what are the hallmarks throwing forward to Cubism that you see in this drawing?
The reduction of the human form, the way that he's able to create this human face with really just very simple line. And it's the reduction of the nose to really just a large triangular element. The eyes are just almond shapes, the ears are reduced, it's just the silhouette.
You have this clear geometric wedge that's the nose with this flat plane across the top, but it has a quite mask-like quality, as though there is a human being beneath what we're seeing here.
We think that these reductive lines are really those striations that someone would see in the carved African masks. And that's really what art historians now like to attribute to the influence of the exhibition at the Trocadero, where he actually saw African masks for the first time. And he was able to incorporate that language into his own body of work.
Veronica, I got to say, I love this. This, I'm guessing it's the same era. It's early Picasso, and it looks like a sheet from a sketchbook. What's she doing? Is she combing her hair?
This has actually been called one of the most beautiful drawings of the Rose period, so I'm not surprised it's caught your eye. This is 1906. We believe that this is Fernande, La Belle Fernande. She was Picasso's first true lover and muse.
This is bohemian, early Picasso. They're living together. They're poor, but she can sense his blazing talent. They fall in love, and she becomes the muse of the Rose period.
Correct, and there's great stories of the deep jealousy that Picasso felt when she posed for other artists early on in their relationship. He's deeply in love with Fernande. She was famed for being a true beauty.
You have the very prominent sketch of her, but then a close-up study of the hand, and then you see the same pose which he seems to be absolutely trying to nail, and then seeing it in the round.
It's very rare to see Picasso treat a figure in 3 dimensions. It's actually quite unprecedented.
That sense of almost a 360 view of the model makes me think that he's starting to imagine this pose in 3 dimensions, perhaps. And it's very striking that here, in the collection, there is a sculpture by Picasso which seems to be totally indebted to this drawing.
Directly related. And that is something that really makes this collection stand out. The pieces were brought together with an exceptionally discerning eye. It's all about the dialogue between the works. With these 2 pieces, the dialogue is obvious and immediate.
Tim, this is an astonishingly powerful and dramatic piece. What are we looking at here?
It's a print called Madonna by Edvard Munch from 1895. In the previous years, he had already worked on some painted versions of it and then decided to create this as a lithograph. The idea is really, as far as we know from Munch himself, that he wanted to show a woman at the moment of conception. So it is actually, like the title suggests, a highly erotic and sexual image of a woman in ecstasy, really.
It's easy to forget how radical this was and remains. This is something which must have been quite shocking to bourgeois audiences in the 1890s. Tim, this feels like a privilege to be looking at this together. This is a real summit of Picasso's printmaking that dates from the mid-1930s. It's a very complicated image. This beast, this Minotaur, half man, half bull, that seems to be powerfully imposing himself within the composition. Picasso is so synonymous with the Minotaur. It's almost as though whenever you see a Minotaur in his work, it's a proxy for the artist.
I think it is a self-portrait in disguise, but it is also a highly complex and ambivalent image, and it is his most densely worked and complex image in all his graphic work.
Do we know much about what was going on in his personal life when he created this?
Yes, so he had met Marie-Thérèse Walter, who we presume is depicted here as a torera, a female bullfighter, and in 1935, the year this print was made, his wife, Olga, had found out that Marie-Thérèse was pregnant.
And the Minotaur seems almost to have his own personal rain cloud that's following him around. So do we feel confident that this is him?
Picasso does clearly identify himself with the Minotaur, which represents different aspects of his personality. I think on the one hand, a very tender one, sometimes a helpless one, sometimes he's a victim, sometimes he's full of violence. It must have had some kind of working through the conflict, his inner turmoil, through scratching on this plate and trying to find an image for all the complex relations and emotions he found himself in.
I just feel that the complexity of the image is its greatness. That's its secret, because he's communicating something of the complexity of being alive, being a human. And I wonder whether that's typical of not just this image, but strikes me many of the images that we find in this room.
I think you're right. There's not really a conclusion, and there are many contradictions and tensions within this image which we find throughout the collection. There's always an element of love and enchantment, but also of something macabre, mysterious and dark. And Klaus Hegewisch was particularly interested in this tension.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for showing me the collection.
My pleasure.